Football, sliced and diced with Sedgemoor FM and Somerset FA.
Welcome to Sliced and Diced, where we're having an open and honest conversations about local football. I'm Scott Laird, Weston Super Mare Player Assistant Manager and Milford Under-18s Coach. And this is Neil Fellows from Sedgemoor FM, Paul Coltman, Somerset's FA Marketing Consultant.
Nice one. We like to just tease people.
Scott. It's fine with me.
Well done.
I like having a bit of
So, you grew up in this area and then you went straight down to Plymouth when you were 17, 18?
16.
16, yeah. What was that like just doing that?
It ended up being, obviously, the best decision I made and the best thing, but to leave your family home, 3 younger brothers.
You weren't
sister.
commuting? You just
I moved straight down. It was 2 days after my last GCSE.
Yeah.
So I was literally, I just left school, and then to then not be able to go home every night, have your mum's cooking.
Yeah.
You know, see your brothers and your sister and muck around in the garden.
Yeah.
Was a really challenging thing. But after that first month was out the way, the tears had gone and all that. It ended up being an amazing experience, and it was some really good stories. Friends for life from that. We lived in a hostel where a lovely couple, Ron and Wendy, looked after 15 of us.
Wow.
16 to 18 year olds, yeah, which is fair play to them. But it was amazing. We had like a 5-story house where it was just it was a free for all, really. But it was great, really good. It's about 2 miles from the ground, so we commuted in every day. It was great.
And your career really kicked off at Stevenage?
Yeah, that's right. When I was about 19, I was at Plymouth from 9 years old to 19. I did 2 years apprentice and then a year and a half of a pro contract. And then got a move to Stevenage when I was 19, and spent 4.5 years of amazing achievements, football and memories to last a lifetime.
Where did the career progress to? What filled in the gap from Stevenage to Weston Super Mare? For those that don't know,
I went around the block a little bit. I did all 4 corners of the country, which is great. Moved around the country, experienced loads. Went from Stevenage, 4.5 years, up to Preston, to the northwest, from southeast to the northwest. Went from there across to Scunthorpe, and then from there into the middle of the country, so Walsall, Birmingham, and then to Forest Green. Slowly making my way back home, Forest Green, and then ended up back here in Somerset and with Weston.
Forest Green's a really interesting one as well, is it? Because of what they're doing and the way the club's evolving. How was that for you?
I loved it. It didn't really work out for me. The first season was really good. Played every game. Me and the manager didn't see eye to eye, but that's another story for another time. But the club itself was amazing. I've got nothing against that club. It was an amazing football club. The owner, Dale Vince, trying to do things differently, and he's a really good guy. I love the way he's trying to do things as well, as in not the same old thing. He's trying to evolve, and especially the way the world's going and energy and all that stuff, and being green and everything like that. So no, he was great. It's a really good club, and I wish him nothing but success.
Have you taken things from that into Weston?
Crikey, how not to do things sometimes. But also, I spoke to the manager, and he was a really good man, and I've learnt a lot from him in both ways. Like I just said, things not to do, but he taught me a lot of things tactically. The style of football he played was really good, and I learnt a lot of things on that. So even if it didn't work out, I think you've always got to try and take positives and negatives. Even if it works out or does work out, that's something I've tried to do all through my career. I've kept a black book of every training session I like, every tactical thing or before a game, pre-talk, pre-chat, of things that I really like to do, and I'm trying to put my own spin on it and do it my own way.
Do you get involved much in developing the young players that are coming through?
At Weston, we're trying to. The way Weston are really developing it at the moment is really good. The plans they've got for the future as well. They've had a really big push with their academy the last 2 years. It's been really good. Always seem to produce a really good player. Not enough defenders, but everyone wants to attack.
I think that's across the county, though, isn't it? I mean, goalkeepers and defenders at pretty much all levels that I'm experiencing, there is just a shortage. Obviously, we all know the famous, the superstars are strikers and midfielders. So a defender isn't a glamorous role, neither is a goalkeeper. But a massive shortage.
Yeah, I think, as you just said, I think everyone plays FIFA, don't
You were
they?
left back, weren't you?
I was a centre back then, and got moved to left back
Because I was a right back, so
Yeah.
I was a goalkeeper.
There you go. Between us, all right. aren't we?
This is why there's a shortage, because we pulled out the game.
Yeah, so I don't think we produce enough defenders or with goalkeepers anymore, but I think it's something we've tried to really focus on and try and make it more what's the word, popular as a choice of because I think the way the game's evolved now as well, defenders aren't just defenders, they're another way of attacking. Especially the fullbacks now. I love playing fullbacks. I just completely bomb them, and that's probably another reason why I got moved from centre back to left back, because I would quite a lot vacate my central position because I like to go forward and try and to help out the attacks. But Weston, brilliant in producing young local talent. Dale Grubbs, who's been there for years, absolute one of the best players I've ever played with. How he's not playing in the Football League more than he did, I'll never know. Ryan Jones, who we sold to Bristol Rovers only 2 seasons ago for 60 grand. And we've got many more that have come through. Ollie Watkins, obviously, now, who came through us. So we've got some really good players now who I'll be surprised if they don't go on and become professionals that are in the first team right now. So we've got a really good way of doing things.
Ollie Watkins, Villa player.
He is now, and hopefully getting England. Did he get in the England squad?
Yes.
He did, yeah. So
don't quote me on that.
No. But he should do, he's brilliant. And we've had players like that who've come through. I could go through loads of players that are playing in football. Matt J, Roland Mayonnaise, that have gone from Weston. They came on loan to us, but we nurtured them for a season, looked after them. James Waite, who's at Newport County now, did really well for us because you can give them that platform. And speaking to managers is another thing I'm trying to give over to young players now. Again, they want that tracksuits. They want to go to Man United or Wolves and get, because they got the tracksuit. But I'm saying to you, play non-league, play men's football for a year or two, rack up the games, loads of games, because managers and coaches and scouts are looking for young players that have played men's football, that have got that exposure, toughened up a little bit, and playing for 3 points instead of going into under 21s or under 23s. And it's good football when you're playing for but it's just you're a number. And at 23, they're looking. I want managers saying to me as scouts, I'd rather have a player who's 22 and has played 100 men's games than a player that's 22 and played 100 under 23s games for Wolves or Derby or whatever, because those ones playing men's games are more ready and hardened and toughened up to go straight into the professional.
Would you say that is the, like, if you obviously lots of things happen when developing a player, but would you say like that is probably the one thing that makes the difference?
I think there's loads of little things. You always talk about these inches and that famous speech from the film Any Given Sunday. Those inches that make up the difference between losing and winning. And I think that's 1 inch, or it could be a couple inches if you put it all together. But I think for me personally, if I'm going on a personal experience, I played for Bridgwater Town Reserves when I was 13, made my debut for the first team when I was 14, and to play, you can't do that now. No. But to do that at a very young age, it really helped my development. At the moment, I've got lads at Millfield where I work, my under-18s, that I've tried not to play Saturdays. So on Saturdays, my better ones can go and play for Street, which are the local club at next to Millfield, that can get exposed to that men's football, and they've absolutely loved it. It's been great for them.
Obviously, with Weston and Millfield, we're at the higher end of local football, but I know, because I see you working so hard out on the playing field in North Petherton several times a week with young players, sort of 6 to 10-year-olds. You're obviously helping out at the other end of the spectrum as well, and you're giving them the same level of experience and coaching. It's 1-to-1. Are you seeing that even at that level, proper grassroots of grassroots, are they developing and learning at the same rate as your older ones at Millfield and Weston? Most
definitely. I think anything in life, football, what they're learning, social skills and everything, that time before they're 10 is really important. They're like sponges, aren't they? They take everything in. And I think I wish I had this 1-to-1 thing when I was this young, when I was their age, because you, for that hour, it's the social side of it with a team is that you've got to, because you've got to have your mates, play with your mates, be in a team, because that's how you grow up and you're with all your pals. But I think in that hour and a half when you're with a coach, he might visit you twice if you're lucky, 3 times if you're lucky. Whereas for an hour with 1-to-1, I can work with you on every aspect, the little fine details, why you're taking that touch, what part of the foot you're taking a touch with, where it's going, why you're doing certain things, and I think it's really, really. I wish I had it when I was that age, because I was learning things when I was middle 20s. I'm thinking, why am I being told this now? Why was I not told this when I was 14, 10? Because it makes so much more difference. But I absolutely love it. I love the coaching side of it. I love trying to give people ideas and things to do, and it's something I just really thrive. I really get excited to do. I get up and I think it's not a chore. I actually think I can't wait to get out there and help these kids.
Hobby to live in.
And you know what kids are like? They love it, don't they? They're just full of enthusiasm and energy.
Obviously, I see them. I see you out on the field, and they're all happy. They're all running around, massive smiles on their faces, loving playing football. So no. Last question from me. The next stage, obviously. You're not getting any younger.
No, I'm not.
In the greatest respect.
It's fine.
What is the next stage for your career?
I think to be happy in whatever I do. That is all I want. I think when I first came out of the professional game when I was 31, I thought about getting back into it with a coach managerial way. Something, if it does come up in the future, great. But actually, I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years, actually, happiness is a massive thing. I've been really lucky to have Weston Super Mare to carry on my footballing journey. Also, the manager there is brilliant in helping me, teaching me how to manage sides, gives me stuff to do within the club, money side, travel wise, just teaching me all those things for one day when I become a manager, which I want to do. And then Millfield's been great because then I've been able to go and use them things and try them with the under 18s and make mistakes and get things right, or tactically, etc, etc. But I think I just want to be happy. If that means I stay what I'm doing, if I get back into the football, I get back into football. Awesome. But I'm happy.
That's my thing. That's my thing.
Thanks, Scott. So you mentioned earlier there was a couple that you lived with when you were in Plymouth. What were their names again?
Ron and Wendy.
So shout out to Ron and Wendy. And in the comments underneath this video, if you've watched all the way here, can you just put Ron and Wendy? Just so that we know you've been watching, just to confuse anyone who didn't watch all the way through. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to get extra content and support the channel, then check out the Patreon link in the description.
Everyone wants to be a attacker.
Should we just
Yeah, of course you can. My nan still does like says her phone number back to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I know your phone number now. I'm just ringing it. So I've always done it.
I used to do that as well when I was a kid, and I realised as a grown up that actually the phone number that I used to have was 499-836.
Oh, brilliant! So careful you say that.
It was when they changed it from 5 digits to 6 digits.
Yeah, that's right, 6. Yeah.
And it was like for everyone, stuck a 3 or a 4. Absolutely for everyone.